Man, Mac Jones used to be fun. It seems like a lifetime ago, but it's really only been 2 years since he was selected to the Pro Bowl in his first year and looked like he could be a building block for the next chapter in New England. He was the best rookie in his class, a class that maybe we were all a little too excited about at the time, and helped lead the Patriots to a wildcard game against the Bills. Granted, they got worked in that playoff game, but still, the future seemed bright. Just check out this relic from 2021 I found while I was researching for this video. He's been on a downward spiral every year since, throwing for less yards, touchdowns, a worse completion percentage, and more interceptions per game. It's gotten to a point where now he's throwing interceptions that look like this, and getting benched for Bailey Zappi on the regular. So, what happened? The thing I've heard over and over about Mac Jones was that he'd been broken, that he's completely lost his confidence. And I wanted to better understand what that meant, where it was coming from, and what it looked like on the field. When I started diving into some of his numbers, the thing that stuck out to me most was just how bad he is under pressure and against the blitz. Year after year, he's gotten worse in these situations. After grading out as the 10th best quarterback under pressure in his rookie year via Pro Football Focus, he now ranks 35th out of 38 qualifying passers, and against the blitz, he's 38th out of 39. And while performance under pressure is a volatile metric, it seems that as he's gotten worse in this respect, his ability in a clean pocket has dropped too. All the while, the Patriots' pass blocking has deteriorated year after year, and the receiving core has remained one of the worst in the league. We were saying the same thing about the receivers back in 2021, but when we compare the names from then and now, you're almost missing the days of Jacoby Myers, Jonnu Smith, and Nelson Aguilar. Those were the days. But this is where I think the crux of his lost confidence is. He doesn't trust his blockers, and he doesn't trust his receivers to make plays. It also doesn't make it any easier that he's had to work with a new OC or pair of OCs every year he's been in the league. Now, this isn't to say that Mac Jones is blameless, because he definitely deserves a lot of stink too, and we'll get to that. But I found myself comparing differences in his mechanics and feeling like they were connected to this distrust. To me, he carries the trauma in his feet. Rather than set his body and step into throws to really drive them to his targets, he's usually caught flat-footed or even falling away from them. Here's a good example against the Colts, where Jones has an opportunity to hit his tight end on a curl route, but lacks the rhythm in his feet and can't drive the throw to his target in time. The Colts look to be playing quarters coverage, and the Patriots want to get the ball into the zone in front of the safety on the weak side. This throw comes down to pinpoint timing because of how the defender is cheated up at the snap. Mac has to throw this at the top of his dropback, right as Hunter Henry is turning around to avoid giving the defender a chance to jump on it. And while he's only a couple of a tenths of a second late, it makes all of the difference. And you can really see how his feet stutter around on the end zone angle, and he ends up throwing this awkwardly even though he had room to get off a clean, strong pass. It's night and day from this pass he threw during his rookie year against the Dallas Cowboys, where he steps up and into this throw downfield. And here's another good example from his sophomore season where he has to wait a little longer in the pocket, but his hitches have more rhythm to them, and he's able to step up and into his passes to drive it into the open spot. I think his feet have gotten out of whack this year because of the constant pressure he's facing throughout the season. Here's another play against Indianapolis where I started to feel that connection. He throws a quick out route that gets completed, but pay attention to how little time Mac has before the pocket folds, and he loses almost any room to step up and through this pass. Instead, he jitters around and the pass looks like a struggle all around. Now check out this pass he threw on an out route against the Dolphins. There's way more time for him in here, and you can see what Mac can do when he drives the ball to where he wants it to go. And while I could stand to see him get his body more perpendicular with the sidelines before throwing this, I'd much prefer see him pass with purpose than with hope. Watching these clips back made me do a double take because this quarterback looks so much more competent and aggressive than the one we've seen most of this year. And look, I'm not saying Mac was perfect at this in year 1 and 2. Even within these same games, you can see how he still gets caught flat-footed throwing and how it affects his accuracy, especially on slants. But I think facing pressure more regularly has led him to making these bad tendencies the norm rather than habits that rear their ugly head from time to time in a game. Jones's time to throw has fallen from around 2.6 seconds in his first 2 years to now 2.4 seconds. This makes him the second fastest at getting the ball out in the league, behind Tua Tagovailoa. But where Tua and the Dolphins thrive in getting out punchy passes in the quick game for Yak, Mac is flinging up prayers when the rushers collapse the pocket around him immediately. On this one against the Giants, the blitz gets through the middle and right into Jones's face. It's tough to fault Jones for not wanting to step into this one, but faulting Jones is kind of what we're here to do. Even though he does take a step in the direction of his receiver, he looks more like he's stepping backwards and away from the pass. His body is falling backwards, and I think that's what leads this one to being wildly off the mark. But what makes this one worse is that he didn't need to lock in on this first out route. There's a wide open receiver coming into the shallow crossing space vacated by the blitzers. He should know that when he sees this space open up, he'll have this guy open as a hot route. And this brings us to our next point on what Matt could do to mitigate how much pressure affects him. Often, he just looks sluggish coming off his first read, and at times, he seemed to have difficulty reading what was happening post-snap or trusting what he saw pre-snap too much. And when the pressure starts flowing around him, he almost looks frozen. Here's an example in that same Giants game. You can see how he stares at the left side of the field, trying to see if he'll have space to throw it to one of his guys over there, but nothing is opening up. Eventually, his internal clock finally goes off, thinking, I've been hanging in here for a while now, haven't I? Then suddenly, he breaks into action and barely gets this ball away to the check down. And again, I'm not saying that this is something that just magically started showing up for him. You can see him loving that first read a little too much in earlier games too, but you can also see instances where he's pretty snappy getting from read to read as well, like here against Miami. And while you can always find examples of a quarterback locking into his first read in a game, he's just gotten much slower in his decision-making process on these plays that should be easier for a third-year quarterback to see. Here's a play in the red zone against the Colts where his lack of confidence in reading the game turned what could have been a reception and a chance at a first down or touchdown into a very near turnover. The Colts showed 2 deep safeties and 2 corners on the end, and they've been playing quarters coverage throughout the game. Jones and the Patriots want to hit the touchdown off this shallow post route for the tight end, which means his second read is likely the shallow crosser in the same middle area of the field. Because of this, I believe he's watching what the safety to the right and the middle linebacker do after the snap. If the safety cheats more over to his side of the field and the linebacker opens up space in the middle, then you've got to throw this to the spot right when you hit the top of your drop back, like here. Now, I wouldn't fault Jones if he got turned off this pass by the middle linebacker who is coming back middle right at this point, but still, you've got to make your decision before you're standing upright here. If you don't like what you're seeing while you drop back, then you hit the safety valve underneath. Instead, he tries to get away and make a hero ball play while getting sacked and nearly coughs up a fumble on third down inside the Colts 20. And to tie this all together with pressure and blitzing making all of these tendencies even worse, look no further than the pick that ended his day against the Giants. New York rolls 6 guys up to the line for a blitz. They end up dropping back the middle defender into coverage and rush 5, with number 19 getting through the outside immediately. Jones never notices the fact the middle blitzer dropped out because, as soon as he takes the snap, his eyes lock onto the blitzer and his running back. He throws this more so to avoid the sack than actually make a play, and the pass would have been a fine decision had that middle defender not backed up right into the space for an easy catch. And I'm not saying that I would have the poise to make a good decision when a blitzer is rushing in unblocked to take my head off, but that's why these guys are pros, and this is just a throw you can't make. You've got to just take the loss on the play, protect yourself from the hit as much as possible, and live to fight another down. Alright, let's back up a second in that New York game. One of the most bizarre passes I saw throughout my study of him was this floater I saw him chuck up on this out route in the first quarter. He gets nothing behind it. Just look at how his stance is when he's throwing this, completely upright, almost leaning backwards. And typically on these kinds of routes, you need the ball to come out quick and fast to lead your guy and beat the defender to the spot. Not on this one. And even weirder, Jones seems to almost be annoyed that Henry doesn't run a sort of wheel route. But hey, maybe let's just chalk it up to miscommunication. Still, I couldn't get how this pass looked out of my head when the play called for what I expected was such a different kind of throw. Now, with that in mind, let's talk about 2 passes in the Indianapolis game. This first one you might have actually forgotten about just because of how the game ended, but it's absolutely worth diving into. Here, Jones is trying to get it to his tight end on an out route towards the back of the end zone. The space opens up, and he's got a direct line to hit him in a fairly clean pocket. But Rather than dart this one to Henry right as he's getting open and the cornerback on the same side has taken the more shallow route, Jones elects to use a touch pass to the back of the end zone. By doing this, he gives the defender on Henry a chance to recover and allows that cornerback to get back into the play, even if this was thrown perfectly. But it's not thrown well. It's slow and behind his receiver and very nearly gets picked off. It's just not the right throw for this situation, and there's no need for the ball to be put in such danger here. And then of course, there's this play that made everyone lose their mind. And for good reason. It's an absolutely insane throw that essentially lost the Patriots the game, their season, and any dignity they still had in 2023. On this one, he's got Gesicki getting open through the middle of the field off play action. There's tons of space in the back of the end zone, and here's where a lobbed ball would actually be the right choice. But instead of driving this ball away from the defenders, he steps back away from the pressure that's still a couple yards away and ends up throwing a total duck that doesn't even get halfway to where the ball should have been placed. It's the kind of throw that makes you scream, as I'm sure many Pats fans did. So, what's next for Mac Jones? Can he be salvaged? I don't think he's a total lost cause yet, but I also wouldn't be jumping at the opportunity to give him a shot on my team next year. With all the drama throughout New England in his first 3 years, whether it be all the different offensive coordinators, the lack of talent around him, or the seemingly hostile relationship he's had with head coach Bill Belichick, I think it's fair to say that there's been outside factors that have sent his progression into a tailspin. After all, it's hard for anyone to perform when the organization around you has all but publicly lost faith in you and holds a mini quarterback training camp battle in the middle of your Week 11 bye. But the fact is that Mac is where he is now, regardless of what's happened. He's bad against pressure, has the most turnover-worthy plays in the league this year, and hasn't gotten noticeably better in any area over the past 2.5 seasons. If you believe there's something there, then you probably believe something in New England broke him. You're therefore putting a lot of faith in your organization that you'll be the ones to fix him. But I think that's what Mac will need to be successful. A change of scenery and some pressure taken off of him, both literally and figuratively. What I think this means in practice is getting some sort of Mitchell Trubisky treatment in Buffalo, where you can be a cheap backup with some talent on a rookie deal behind an incumbent quarterback this year to reset, with the hopes you get another shot to be a starter in the next season. Things didn't work out for Trubisky in his next stop in Pittsburgh, and they might not work out for Mac wherever he goes, but there's always a chance. Either way, after this season, we know that Mac Jones is not the answer in New England, but now the questions become whether we'll ever see him again. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to give it a like if you did enjoy it and consider subscribing to the channel so you can catch the next one. Thanks, bye.